can't wait to get on the road again. All I love is making music with my friends, and I can't wait to get on.
You gotta love this road, man. You gotta love this road.
On the road again.
What's up, everybody?
Going places that I've never been.
How's everybody?
I may never see again. I just can't wait to get on the road again.
It's a pretty bad start when you can't even formulate your first sentence.
Like a band of gypsies, we go down the highway.
Cut two, take two. This is Nightwatch N8 of the Nightwatch Podcast. How about that, guys? This weekend, finally broke 1,000 subs on the channel. 1K proud subscribers to the Nightwatch N8 channel. Nightwatch Podcast. Official Nightwatch Podcast. What are the odds, right, guys? Sure seems like all the odds have been stacked against me from the get-go. As soon as I open my big mouth about masks and efficacy as vaccines and mortality rates of the dreaded plague, as Trump called it. That's what really started getting me in trouble on the channel, is when I just started opening my mouth, because I didn't want to remain silent, you know? Why would I have a channel where I'm gonna stick my mediocre mug out there for all to see? Facial recognition systems, algorithms, social credit score systems, soon to be rolled out with these CBDCs, manufactured banking crisis. Why would I do all that? So I can hold my tongue, right? And I hope that's, that's what I like about my guys that have stuck it out with me through all the years. And it's been like, 3 years or more? Yeah, I made the mistake of starting a channel right before COVID kicked off and couldn't keep my big mouth shut. So that's more than anything probably what got my channel completely shadow banned to oblivion. That's why it's been over 3 years till I just finally now broke 1,000 subs. But that's okay, because I know some of those. I know I lost quite a few subs by just not keeping my mouth shut, and I have this tendency of like a piñata, I guess, going after people's little golden calves, because what really gets under my skin is these how does the Bible describe them? Like the blind guides, false prophets, the wolves in sheep's clothing, or Republican clothing. Wolves with an R in front of their names, So that gets me in trouble with a lot of people, because I don't really play along with the left-right paradigm. And I step on a lot of toes that way. But you know what? That's what I really love about the people who have stuck it out with me in the channel for so long, is that I know all of you, you're big boys and big girls. And you can handle a few controversial statements now and then. Yeah, you might not agree with, as long as I'm speaking from the heart, right? I don't have any obviously, right? I don't have any what do I even call them? I don't have anybody that I have to answer to, right? I don't have any endorsement deals, and apparently, according to YouTube, I'm not very profitable, right? Speak the truth, and you're not really, you're not worthy of any kind of advertisement dollars. I'm not even sure if I can still put ads on my show, even if I wanted to. I'm back down to a warning though, so that's good news. And I've had probably in the history of my channel, I think I've counted at least a dozen strikes. As some of you may know, I did have the channel completely taken down at one point. Completely removed off of YouTube. And by some act of God, maybe, a miracle, somebody up there in YouTube found it within their heart after I spammed them for several months straight to grant me my channel back. So that was amazing. And I'm still not sure if I should even be uploading videos on this channel anymore, because it's so completely heavily shadow banned at this point. And it's really frustrating because I'll put endless hours, a week sometimes, into editing one of my podcasts, just so YouTube can literally hand me like less than a handful, maybe 5, 6, 10 unique viewers to what I consider, and I think many of you may consider, is pretty decent content, right? I mean, quality wise, right? I do my research, especially for the podcast. In fact, and I add, visuals and all kinds of filters and cool stuff, my own music, most of the time. So all these little steps of the process, take time and a little bit of talent, right? I would like to hope. I would like to think. This is kind of my creative outlet lately, this channel. Because I don't paint anymore, I used to be a painter. And I sold to some big names and all that, but the art market is pretty dried up, unless you're really lucky at this point. And I figure the future of media is just, online media, video in particular. And more than anything, what really moved me to just stick my head out, right, on the chopping block maybe one day, but I'll leave that in God's hands, was just, I saw the signs all around me. I've been a student of prophecy for most of my adult life now, I guess you could say. And I just saw the writing on the wall, right? Where that saying comes from, right? The Bible, Media Persia, and all that. Book of Daniel. But I get sidetracked a lot. That's my problem too. Even on the show, I have to keep going on and on about all these thoughts that pop into my head. But you know what? Another thing is, like, all of my watchers that have stuck it out throughout all the years. And the proud that have actually bought me a coffee now and then. I appreciate that more than anything, because that makes this whole little endeavor, a little bit more than a hobby. Makes it a little bit more practical, when it comes to trying to justify the amount of time I really do put into the show. When I could be doing other things that might actually make me a little income, which I, of course, have to do now and then. I have to stop things altogether from time to time, especially in the summer months when it's really nice out. I gotta get some work done on fixing and flipping RVs or whatever I'm doing. Yeah, it makes it more justified, I guess you could say, that I put as much time into these videos as I do when somebody does toss me a few dollars now and then. And I really appreciate that, right? Because I know how it is, right? I'm cheap, like the rest of probably a good portion of my audience out there. And I mean, I have to be when I don't have a consistent income, right? But yeah, you get real lazy, you get kind of lackadaisical, you just get kind of used to free content on the internet. That's what makes the internet so great, right? If you want to go learn a certain topic, just hop on YouTube and look it up. And there's your, you can do a whole college course if you wanted to, right? Free of charge. But for us little content creators out here that spend a crap ton of time on producing these videos, really does help us stay inspired and keep us afloat, really, financially, for the few people that come around. Anyway, I'm not going to keep on pitching myself. I can't stand that either, is when people ask for money. So I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to thank all the people that have. There's at least a dozen, maybe a little over a dozen supporters on Buy Me a Coffee who have bought me multiple coffees over time. And I can't name them all right now, but maybe I'll do that in a future show. Just add a big list of all the people that have supported me. Maybe my next milestone, whatever that will be. Shoot, I don't know, 10,000? Is that shooting too high? Maybe. Yeah, I've seen other channels just completely blow up in the hundreds of thousands in the same amount of time that my channel took to reach 1,000, and they produced less content. But I think the common denominator was they were a little less subversive, a little less controversial. They didn't touch with a 10-foot pole the topic of COVID, and they just kind of have this tendency of parroting mainstream media talking points, right? Parroting headlines all day. Parroting trends on Twitter, which is basically the same thing. If you understand how Twitter works, you know, Musk just put out a tweet about how they're going to reel in all the psyops on Twitter. I thought that's a little ironic because, you know, Twitter it's really designed to promote psyops, right? You know, how many studies have been done on just how easy it is for these bots, pretty rudimentary bots, to generate a trend, to create a trend. And, you know, how easy is it to steer the public mind to serve as a constant distraction? Like right now, the Trump arrest story, right? Supposedly on, what is it, Tuesday, I think? Trump's put out on his Truth Social this tweet, written in all caps, by the way, written in sentences that are like grammatically really hard to read. I mean, he sounds a little bit like a raving lunatic. I don't know if that's what the plan was behind that post, but
it's time. We are a nation in steep decline, being led into World War III by a crooked politician who doesn't even know he's alive, but who is surrounded by evil and sinister people who, based on their actions on defunding the police, destroying our military, open borders, no voter ID, inflation, raising taxes, and much more, can only hate our now failing USA. We just can't allow this anymore. They're killing our nation as we sit back and watch. We must save America. Protest, protest, protest. I will be arrested on Tuesday of next week. Protest. Take our nation back.
And then calling for all of his supporters to defend Trump by protest, 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 right? And my whole argument is like, and I know I'm skipping around a little bit once again as I do, I just got so much crammed in my brain right now. I've been working on a show for this whole past week, just research, and it was actually intended to originally cover Tucker and DeSantis. And I know now that I've just reached 1,000 subs, I know I'm probably going to lose a few more for questioning the golden calves on the right again. But you know, the whole Bible concept that pops in my mind all the time, and that's why it really gets under my skin when I see people in positions of trust, right? And prominence, influencers, right? In politics in particular, because that is the biggest cancer on our country right now, obviously, is the whole political game show. This controlled left-right paradigm. And you see it now over and over again. I mean, Elon Musk just came out and said, if Trump gets arrested, you know, he's basically a shoo-in for the White House. He's going to win the nomination. So Elon Musk now, I think he's formerly now the richest man. Is it back to Bill Gates? I can't keep track, but they keep jockeying back and forth for position of the so-called richest man in the world. Yeah, even Musk now, since he's such a right-winger, he tweeted that out, you know, and he's sure sounding a lot more and more like a Tucker Carlson, like a Fox News. No coincidence that he was, you know, bumping elbows with Rupert Murdoch and his daughter at the Super Bowl. And no coincidence that Twitter is the most popular social media platform for journalists, right? As I've said, just an extension of Operation Mockingbird. And all these little influencers, you know, all these little thought leaders with hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter, what do you think they're contributing to when all they do is parrot headlines on Twitter, right? And they get everybody all riled up about this or that topic, and, you know, everybody loves to hate somebody, it seems. Or, you know, gush over the latest celebrity politician. These movie star good looks, right? I think it was Bill Clinton, right, that they did the poll about women, and the number one reason they voted for Bubba, is his good looks, of course, because that's all it takes to win the office of the highest office of the land of POTUS, right? You just gotta look good and sound good, get that little Elvis twang in your voice, and play the saxophone on Arsenio Hall show. This is why, I mean, politics is just, to think it's anything other than just total theater at this point, right? Reality show. You have to be, I don't know, still a little bit adolescent, right? A little bit stunted in your mental maturity. Grow up, guys. That's all I'm saying. Just grow up. And you don't, as I tweeted out recently, you don't typically want to vote for the most prominent turd that floats to the top of the toilet bowl, right? On either side, the right or the left. No matter what your party affiliation is. Usually the one that the media showers with praise and attention. And I'm not talking about the opposition press, the leftist media. I'm talking about your own, right, the official source, the fair and balanced Fox News, the Tucker Carlsons. If you vote based upon who they think is the best choice, or the most likely nominee, then you're going to be voting for one of the yet another hand-picked puppet of the establishment. And just ask yourself, I won't even go any further right now until the show comes out and I piss a bunch of people off and lose more subscribers. But that's why you love me, right? Yeah, if you're expecting this show to be just another, you know, controlled opposition optics promoting right-wing conservative MAGA type show, I'm just going to keep disappointing you at this point, right? And like they say, when you're trying to learn how to start a YouTube channel, you know, never give people what they didn't subscribe for. And I try to do that. I try to remain consistent. And that's why I'm just letting you all know right now, I'm probably going to step on some toes with these next couple shows. But I won't even go any further about DeSantis, because, you know, I think it's pretty obvious right now who the right-wing media is promoting, who their golden boy is, right? And meanwhile, you have Trump just agitating things. Soros, it seems like they're fulfilling Soros's wet dream, I guess, by this infighting among Trump and DeSantis. But I don't even buy myself, because Trump is the one, it was Trump's endorsement who helped DeSantis get into office in the first place. So why would they be enemies, right? It doesn't make sense. Unless Trump is secretly still in bed with the Clintons and wants to just completely disrupt everything, which apparently, I mean, he does if you look at his track record. That's what I'm saying. Like, imagine how irresponsible Trump would have to be to put out this rhetoric right now, because he's facing being arrested over, what was it now? Stormy Daniels? Soliciting sex off Stormy Daniels. And this is the guy we're all supposed to rally for and protest, mass protest, because they're going to arrest him for paying a prostitute. I'm sorry, guys, but I think there's more nobler causes to stand for. You know, I just think Trump at this point is a lost cause. Primarily because he's never even disavowed himself from the whole vaccine controversy. He still stands by it this day, and he still makes these boastful claims that because of his Operation Warp Speed, twisting the arm of the FDA, right, as he put it, because of these miraculous mRNA vaccines, he saved millions of lives. Now, how childlike, you know, how deep do you have to have your head planted up your own ass to still believe that, right? Even if you think he sincerely believes that garbage, I mean, that right there should disqualify him from ever planting foot in the White House ever again, right? To anybody that's been paying any attention. And yeah, what a better thing to rally for. And like I said, the rhetoric of protest. How well did the last protest turn out, Trump, right? When he led, like I say, like lambs to the slaughter, all of his supporters to the Capitol, you know, knowing the volatility of that moment when he was calling it all a stolen election. Knowing how the enemy operates, right? How they, as Rahm Emanuel put it, never let a good crisis go to waste. How could he have not known that that might have just kind of turned out bad a little bit? Like a little bit of a setup, maybe? And now all we've learned since, with the police stand-downs, the police allowing people in the doors of the Capitol building, you know, the latest Tucker footage of the Buffalo Shaman, whatever his name is, getting escorted around, right, on a tour of the Capitol. How naive do you have to be to, you know, have not thought that could possibly be a dangerous idea? Rallying your angry mobs of supporters to go march on the Capitol. And now he's telling them to go protest. And could you imagine if they do? Like I've said, I think Trump's, you know, lock him up is just as likely, just as plausible as lock her up was when Trump supporters were chanting that in the audience when Trump was campaigning for the White House. I think it's just as likely you'll see Trump ever see any prison time as it is you'll ever see Hillary ever see any prison time. Because they're playing their parts in this big reality TV show. This big play. And the only ones getting played, the only ones getting screwed, as George Carlin would put it, time and time again, are the American people. The real war, all this talk about World War III, the real war has always been on we the people. From the inception of this country, of our system of government. And our founding fathers knew this, right? That's why it was essential to bind down, you know, the different branches of government Because tyranny is always, you know, you shake up a bunch of dirt, a bunch of sand, and the fine little sediment sinks to the bottom. Like I say, the biggest prominent turds, or pebbles, rise to the top of the swamp, you could say. And the sediment on the bottom, more and more things get shaken up, the more crises that they manufacture. Sediment on the bottom just continues to get crushed by these bloated bureaucracies, by these criminal cartels, these hand-picked global elites that sit up on the top and just get heavier, and their burden gets bigger and bigger, and they loot, pillage, plunder as much of our prosperity, as much as our resources as possible, until maybe, just maybe, people have had enough. And I don't know when that day is coming, because apparently we have so much prosperity in this nation that, man, they could just continue to loot fortunes out of our country, continue to devalue our dollars, and people are still content, I guess, where we're at. And maybe it's just because people don't realize the vast separation of wealth, right? During the COVID, the centralization of wealth, more than any other time, I think it was in Earth's history, into the hands of a few, right? These few billionaires. More billionaires popped up more than ever before out of this power grab, out of the sinking destruction of the local economies. And, you know, while the monopoly men, of course, came out on top, as they always do, because they have enough resources, they have enough wealth to weather the storm, whereas a lot of us don't. You know, we're dependent on that next paycheck. You know, small businesses, restaurant owners, how many restaurants went under during COVID? Because they depend on that weekly business, right? To stay afloat. Something big's going on up here, I think. I don't know if this is just a lot of fire trucks. I'll show you real quick. There's always something, every time I go down to town, there's always something going down, man, I tell you. Yeah, a bunch of fire trucks. I have no idea. Could be just a practice drill or something like that. Where was I though? Sorry, I'm gouging my eyeball out on camera. Had an itch. So yeah, just don't get caught up in the hype. That's all I'm saying. Like the Bible says, right? Use a little discernment. Know a tree by its fruits. Know a tree by its works. Learn from the past, right? And I think what they're doing, these agent provocateurs, like Trump. I don't know how you can see him as anything other. I mean, the number one enemy of the globalists, right, are nationalists, America firsters, people that want to keep their unique systems of government, in particular the American Republic, right, constitutional republic. Those bitter clinger types are the biggest impediment to this global government power grab, right, this New World Order. And so, like, my question is, man, who do you think contributed more than anybody else in recent history to the demonization of right-wing white nationalists, right? They like to call them white nationalists. You know, who painted them in a poorer light more than Trump did? So I kind of see him at this point as just this agent provocateur, scapegoat that took all of his followers along with him, right? And like I said, he never issued any blanket pardons for all of those people at the Capitol building on January 6th. He could have done that. He promises now that he will pardon those people if he ever gets back into office. Well, you know what, dude? It's kind of too little too late at this point. But yeah, what a better way to just sabotage, right? Kind of Benedict Arnold kind of method of betraying your own people, your own movement, than to masquerade as one of them, right? To go from a Clinton ally, to go from a lifelong Democrat to, being given the go-ahead by the Clintons to, you maybe should switch party affiliations and run Republicans. Those Republicans love a good businessman, right? You fit in great on the Republican Party. It's just something to think about, right? Just remain skeptical. That's all I'm saying. I mean, we have been screwed and lied to so many times just within my lifetime. But I just don't trust anybody who gets into a prominent position, right? I don't care how anti-establishment he sounds, how much the media appears as if it hates him, right? There is no such thing as bad publicity. And that's one thing Trump has never been in short supply of, is publicity. No matter, decades before he even decided to run for president, the guy was just a media darling, right? He's always been in the limelight when it comes to the media. So why would anything be different now, right? And all I'm saying is, everybody on the right mocked and ridiculed and laughed at just how superficial the hope and change was with Obama, right? And you'd have like Alex Jones go on and on about how the left would give Obama left cover, when as soon as Trump runs and he says everything you want to hear, appears as if he's everything that America needs at that point in time, right? Big mouth, blowhard, tip of the spear. Talking heads like Alex Jones gave him nothing but right-wing cover the whole time he was in office. There's that Bible principle that I never got to earlier that I mentioned. It's now reconnected in my brain. To whom much is given, much should be required. And that's the way I look at anybody that's running for America first, freedom, liberty, making all the right promises, right? Everything that I stand for. That's what a lot of people don't get. Why you want to criticize whoever, DeSantis, Trump? They stand for everything you stand for. Well, no. You got to judge a tree by its fruits, right? How did 4 years of Trump make America great again, post-COVID? How? By following UN/WHO mandates, turning the American population into lab rats. How did that make America great again? I think I would propose that it did more to destroy our American freedoms than anything else in our history. And now you have the WHO standing there to exploit this giant, massive lie everybody's just continually going along with. Like, that whole pandemic was a real thing, right? It wasn't just a mild flu season. So just like 9/11, the longer you promote the lie, the more they'll exploit that lie. Sorry, I'm trying to drive and run red lights while I'm sitting here talking. Yeah, the more you promote the lie, the false flag, the longer time you give them to exploit it, right? to pass things like the Patriot Act, right? And now we have the WHO, the ones that manufactured the crisis, the pandemic, the ones that redefined a pandemic to be whatever they say it is. Now you have them standing to grab more power, right? More sovereignty from all of us separate little nations. Because it's always been about their global government scheme, right? And the WHO is instrumental in that. You know, they'll use a good excuse like public health, guys. You know, we got to keep people safe, right? Global government is safe, guys. You don't want to die, do you? Yeah, I think I'd rather die on my knees, as I put it, than die from a sneeze. Now I got a police officer behind me here, so I need to drive straight. Shut my lips for a second here. Oh. Yeah, let me get it past this cop so I don't get pulled over. I don't want this show to be that costly, you know what I mean? Here, give me a second. Whew. Successfully ditched the cop. If any of you are wondering why I'm so shifty around police right now, well, it's because I just got this truck fixed and I haven't got new stickers for it yet. And I'm pretty sure the trailer lights are not currently working. So I gotta kind of watch my hind end here. I usually try to get water up in Estes. Seems a little safer up there because it's not too far of a drive. I don't have to go down to a big city that way. So yeah, I gotta get that taken care of. Money, 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 right? Yeah, so I'm gonna end on this question. For all those who are still clinging on to the dream, you know, make America great again, I'll pose the question, does it feel after Trump like America is really great again? Are we in a better position than we were prior to Trump taking office? I know some people will argue that he did all these great things for the economy, that everything was just like booming in the Trump, when Trump was in office, and you know, it's not his fault because he had to deal with COVID. But you know, like, my argument is, you know, why would he roll out Dr. Fauci with that guy's history, right, during the AIDS pandemic and all the blood that he already had on his hands? Why would he roll him out as America's doctor, for one? Most of all, why would he follow WHO/UN mandates? With just a little bit of research, you could figure it out after the swine flu scamdemic that they redefined a pandemic to be whatever they want it to be. Why would he declare a national state of emergency, which opened the door to all these little petty tyrants in office, shutting everything down, imposing mandates? You know, I know he has this kind of a right cover in that a lot of people say he never forced anybody to do anything. Well, why did he lend any credibility to the big giant lie of the WHO's pandemic? The WHO, by the way, being the primary source of all of my videos that have been banned. Once again, I'm running a risk of violating the mighty WHO. Yeah, why keep up the lie? Why has he not come out at this point and admitted that everything was a giant scam and it was all based upon this giant power grab by these globalist agencies, which now stand to profit? You know, again, who benefits? The ones who invented the crisis are the ones that now stand to grab more power away from nation states with their BS little multinational agreements thought, oh, guess what? Next time they manufacture another crisis, another scamdemic, you're going to have even less say on what you want to do in your own country. Because guess what? We're all living under this umbrella of this global government. And it's always, of course, it's always going to be about health and safety, right? They're just there to keep us all super healthy, guys. Bill Gates is super concerned. Number one contributor to the WHO, by the way. Bill Gates is super concerned with public health. He wants us to all live long, healthy lives, right, guys? Yeah, why would Trump continue to perpetuate this giant lie, which, just like after 9/11, right? And all the draconian legislation that followed shortly after, if the giant lie is not exposed for what it is, they'll just continue to use it as a pretext to implement more draconian, liberty-crushing rules and regulations, legislation around the world. So it needs to be exposed for the giant fraud it is. My argument is, if you want to get out and protest something, why don't we protest another Nuremberg trial, Nuremberg 2, for all these genocidal maniac, control freak, petty tyrants, and all the blood that they have on their hands. Now, why don't we arrest, I don't know, Bill Gates and Tedros of the WHO, Anthony Fauci? Why don't we protest, I don't know, maybe the push for a cashless society, knowing what it's like to live in China right now for the average citizen under this oppressive, just total tyranny of a digital currency, pegged to all their social credit garbage. Do we want to live in that? And the thing is, if we don't make any kind of stand, they're just going to ram it through, because this giant lie, all hinging upon this, this national trauma that we've endured over these past couple of years of just incessant daily propaganda. This national tragedy as the pretext. It has many prongs, and one of the driving agendas behind the whole giant lie in the first place of this pandemic was the push for national ID cards and, digital blockchain-based cryptocurrency, or CBDC, central bank digital currency. And right now we have like this two false choice paradigm between Bitcoin as the anti-establishment, right? Grassroots, the original, right? With this myth of Satoshi, which when you really look into it, I've been covering this for a while now, and in some of my earlier podcasts, I talked about how early on, before Bitcoin ever caught on, they presented it to the NSA. And shortly after, the Satoshi figure just vanished off the stage. Then nobody ever heard of him again. So apparently it was handed over to the NSA at one point. It's not decentralized because only a handful own like 90+% of the supply of Bitcoin. So again, I think it's a false choice. I don't necessarily see them completely getting rid of Bitcoin, because like I've been saying recently, Bitcoin and the shit coins, all the other cryptocurrencies out there, Ethereum, Doge, Elon Musk is all about, all this little digital monopoly funny money that has made all these people filthy rich, the early investors anyway. That was just like I say, it's like the sugary peanut butter on the big rat trap of the CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. That was just to butter everybody up to the idea, to let everybody think that, this is actually a threat to the big banksters, right? big banking cartels. No, they wouldn't be in on it. They wouldn't be behind it. It wouldn't be a coincidence that all the all the banks right now are just kind of going under, controlled demolition of the banking system, while Bitcoin is going up again. And it wouldn't be a coincidence that all the JP Morgans and all the BlackRocks and Visas, they're all in on crypto now. They're all for Bitcoin. I think Visa has a credit card where you can earn points towards Bitcoin, right? Because it's such a scary threat to the banking establishment. That's why they're all fully embracing it. That's why the Rothschilds are funding Bitcoin mining, right? Because it's all been pre-planned, guys. Things, they don't just let people, the Fed Reserve, the FEC, they're not just going to let a true threat come around, right? If it's a true threat to their power monopoly, they're not just going to let it develop, unhindered, right? Tethered, unimpeded. That's what I'm trying to say. They do like they did in China. They crack down on all the trading sites. If you can't transfer your Bitcoin into real money, you can't do a whole lot with it, right? That's what I foresee the future here. My little crystal ball in my head. I see them keeping Bitcoin around. It's always been the narrative behind Bitcoin is that it's digital gold, right? And of course, it's fool's gold. It's backed by nothing. It's digits in a computer. But if they can sell the world on that, they can pretty much sell you on anything. And gee, what's going to happen when this completely, there's say if the whales just decide someday to completely cash out, or if it's part of the agenda to just completely push a button and poof, there goes your Bitcoin. There's nobody there to go to, right? There's no middleman. There's no small bank. There's no teller that you can go to and say, hey, what happened to my money, right? There's nobody that you can sue because conveniently enough, the creator just kind of vanished off the scene. There's no accountability. And you're going to put your blind trust in this thing, right? Look at all the elk out today down here in the meadow. You see those little elkies? A nice little paradise there, man. Yeah. Got their own little pond and everything, sitting in the grass. And I'm so jealous. It feels like spring down here. I got to go back up to the ice box up in the mountains. So jealous of you guys down here. Anyway, it's time to get busy. It's time to, we got chickens. We got to plant more seeds. I'm going to try to probably do that today, among all the other things I got to get done. Yeah, to finish up, I think they're going to keep Bitcoin around, but they're going to make it so, the central bank controlled digital currencies are the one that you got to convert your Bitcoin into in order to actually buy anything, right? Maybe they might leave, a few options to buy things with Bitcoin. The whole point is you're all going to be on the same blockchain system that's completely trackable. It's not private. It's not decentralized. But yeah, it just makes sense that they'll give you a couple options to make it feel like you're still free, right? In this digital prison grid that they're building up around all of us, where, yeah, like Jordan Peterson and other people have said, what happens when you say the wrong things? What happens when you stand up against the establishment? What happens when, you don't, like a good Chinese citizen, just bow to the state? Don't question their policies. What happens when you stick your neck out, right? Like Nightwatch N8. Well, they can just cut you off. And you won't be able to travel. You won't be able to buy or sell, I think, which is key, right? Biblically, prophetically speaking. And you'll be a nobody. You'll be a non-citizen. That's ultimately where this is all headed. Anyway, God bless everybody. My camera looks like it's about to die. Battery light's blinking again. I'm headed up to the icebox. Enjoy the good weather if you got it. Spring's coming though. It's time to get busy again. So that means I might not be producing as many videos, but I'll still keep them coming. I want to do the Doomsday Garden series again. And hopefully I'll put more relevant information in there so we can all get a little bit more prepared to disconnect as much as we can from this beast system before it's too late. Anyway, God bless everybody. This is Nightwatch N8 signing out.